Hey everyone, and welcome to Inksplatter Podcast. My name is Chris. I'm an illustrator from Melbourne, and this is my podcast about things and stuff and mostly art-related junk. Today I'm joined by the absolutely lovely Mama Jane. Say hello. Thank you for joining me today, darling.
That's all right.
It's a pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here.
For those of you who don't know who you are, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, all right. I'm Mama Jane. I run a blog, Mama Jane Reads a Comic, and a Facebook page. Bit of an all-around dork, and I don't know what colour the Ninja Turtles are.
And just for the record, blue is Leonardo. So, for those of you who won't figure it out, I am currently drawing one of the Ninja Turtles at the moment, and that's how that sort of came about. So, today we are going to be talking about convention etiquette.
One of my favourite topics.
Yes, I know you've covered this before. I had trouble finding your post about it, but I do know this is a topic. Yeah.
I put it up every time a convention rolls around, so it'll be up in the next tomorrow.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, this particular topic is mostly going to revolve around the Artist Alley and dealing with artists and guest artists, etc. I'm sure we'll talk about conventions as a whole.
Yes.
But for the most part, I want to talk about the Artist Alley. And I don't want to just talk about punters or attendees dealing with artists, but I also want to talk about artists dealing with attendees, which I think is going to be really great because, I mean, you've always been an attendee yourself.
Yes, I haven't tabled yet. I would love to one day.
Oh, you should. You totally should.
When I have something worth selling, I'll think about it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I've been behind the table many, many times, which I realise I think it's been nearly 6 or 7 years now. So we've both got a bit of experience from both sides, and I'm really interested to sort of see how the big differences of what we've noticed along the way.
I'm very curious as to what it's like to be behind the table and have people coming around and judging your wares all the time.
Yeah. It can be tough. I suppose we'll sort of start from the artist side, and then we'll sort of see how these resonate with you. Mm-hmm. One of the first ones I want to talk about is artists approaching the public, or at least being approached by someone, and how to deal with them. Yep. Now, I'm a strong believer that despite who you're talking to and how bad of a day you're having, which can be very, very common when you're sitting behind a table for 2 days, and you haven't made a sale in the past 2 hours, you get very grumpy. I think it's important to keep a smile on your face and greet every person that that comes up to your table. I
completely agree. I think just, if you're not in a great mood, it's not, you should never take it upon yourself to make anyone else in a bad mood.
Correct,
so,
yeah.
Hello and smiling goes a long, long way.
That's it, and smiles are contagious.
Smiles
I firmly
are very
believe that. Now, have you ever come across anyone sour or?
I have been to some of the smaller things, such as like something like a home cooked comic festival.
Okay.
And just kind of get awkwardly stared at a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So if you go up, you start looking through the things, and they just kind of look at you. They don't really smile. They just sort of say hello, and then they just watch you. It's very strange.
Yeah, that would be
I haven't really
daunting.
come across that so much at the any of the larger ones, and even the small ones. Most people are pretty friendly and happy to tell you about their work.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I imagine some of those smaller kinds. I've done a few of them. One, they're a little bit more daunting because there's less for punters to take in. But two, I mean, you're surrounded by so much more artists, and it's easier to converse with them.
Yeah.
Because you don't have these big walls, separating everyone. Yeah, I imagine they'd sort of be in a world of their own, and they just kind of want to hang out with their mates. I mean, it like working in retail when a customer walks in, you're like, now I've got to work.
God. The one thing I'm here to do, I can't believe I've got to talk to.
Exactly, right?
I totally get that. Sometimes the phone rings at work, I'm like, oh, God, do I have to answer that?
Yes, right. And this sort of leads into the next thing I want to talk about. How, like, marketing yourself and, like, your products on the table and your table in general. Your persona is so important as well.
Yeah, no.
If you come off as a jerk, there's a 90% chance I'm just going to walk away and not buy anything from you.
To be honest, I've bought things before that I wasn't massively into simply because the person behind the table was quite nice. So like some
Oh,
tables
wow.
sell little postcards, and I'll buy one of the $2 postcards because, you know, the girl was so happy to talk to us and chat away about what she was doing. So, and she was lovely.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so it has worked in her favour just for being...
It's definitely worked in her favour. To be honest, we weren't even shopping at her table. I said to my partner, I'm like, oh, I think we need to get another bag. And she goes, oh, I have a bag. And she started chatting away, and she was lovely. So bought something just because she was nice.
Awesome. And that's like an opportunist right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone who sees just a small glimmer that they might make a sale just by being really nice, and bang, there you go.
Exactly. And yeah, no, it was worked very well in her favour. And I don't know how she went for the rest of the con, but I hope she went well.
I imagine with a disposition like that, she surely...
Oh, yeah, it was pretty contagious.
Gosh. No, that's awesome. I like to hear things like that where people are actually putting in the effort, you know, behind their tables, because I see it far too often when artists just get too low, and I've been a horrible culprit for it, especially in the beginning where I'm just done for the day and you want to go home, and it starts to feel like work. And when you do a convention, like, you don't really want to think, oh, you know, I'm going to work now, this is a job for me. And
yeah, no, I hope that most people that do it because they enjoy it.
Sometimes I wonder. I mean, I understand, like, there's a lot of people out there who are doing conventions as an income. And, like, in saying that, so obviously we're talking about Artist Alley, we're talking about people who are creating their own artwork or even knickknacks and things.
Well, I think that's amazing, but I would hope that a big part of why they do it is because they enjoy it, so, you know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when I first started doing Artist Alley was the exposure. I just wanted people to know who I was, and money definitely was a big contributor in that, because not so much I wanted to get rich drawing art, but I knew that this is what I wanted to do for a living, and this is one of the main avenues too, to sort of get into it and get people to notice you, and get people to pick up your business cards and hopefully garner some work in the end.
Yes.
So,
I think anything that gets your name out there a little bit more, or get people to remember your style, is really, really good.
Yeah, and it's very hard to stand out in a place like that too, because, wow, the slew of talent you have these days. I mean, the last show I went to was Supernova in Melbourne, and I don't even think I walked through the whole Artist Alley. It was that crazy with the amount of artists there. Did you? I know you were there for both days.
I was there I always do both days, which if you read my article on convention etiquette, you'll see why. It was huge last year. It seemed a lot bigger than other years, and there was just crazy amounts of stuff there.
Yeah, I definitely believe Artist Alleys are starting to get a bit flooded.
Yeah, I feel like it's missing a lot of the smaller individual artists nowadays. It's a lot more print selling and things like that. Less of the actual artists.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that actually. I've got a few friends in the States who have just been doing conventions, and I want to talk to them about how they find indie comics in the Artist Alley go for them compared to here, because I honestly think it's a dying thing.
And that makes me so sad, because that's pretty much the thing I enjoy the most is going and finding all the indie comics and things like that. And that makes me really sad to hear that they're dying out a little bit.
It's nice to hear that there are still people out there, and I've definitely seen them. I've definitely seen people, you know, deliberately looking for those indie comics. But yeah, I feel like I've seen it in just my sales alone that it doesn't feel like they're as popular as they used to be, or, you know, definitely don't feel conventions revolve too much around them anymore. It's gone from comic conventions to entertainment conventions, and
yes. I think with all of the comic book movies out, we're seeing people that wouldn't have previously attended, which is great. Anything that puts more money into something I love is fantastic, but I think it is definitely losing its place with the indie comics and things like that.
Yeah.
Because people want to come and see Captain America and, you know, Iron Man and whatnot.
Which is fair enough. I mean, I'm a culprit of that too.
Everybody loves Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Sydney, I met John Barrowman, and he touched my bottom, and it was one of my happiest days.
The happiest day of your life.
One of. I mean, there's the marriage and all that.
Oh,
But,
yes. That's right, those things.
They get in the way as well, I suppose. But yeah, so I can understand why people sort of get sucked into those. I do as well. But it definitely overclouds what I think conventions used to be, which is sort of a shame. Because I don't think Australian comics in general is dying at all. I just think it's highlight, at least in the convention scene around Australia is, Yes,
I think there's lots of people making indie comics at the moment, which is just the best thing ever. But yes, I agree. It seems a lot less of it at the conventions.
Yeah. Well, I suppose future will tell. I know Oz Comic Con are meant to be sort of crunching down a lot more on it. But we'll see, because I've already seen a few people who have been accepted into the show who don't even have their own comic books. It's just purely fan art and stuff. So we'll see. Yeah, I definitely. Are you planning on going to?
I am. I'm both days again.
I can't wait to see your sort of rundown on things.
Yes, I'm missing my camera guy this time, so I'm going to do all the filming myself, which I'm not sure how I'm going to manage, but I'm thinking I'm going to be that dork out there with a selfie stick.
I've seen some fantastic convention videos just done with a selfie stick. I think you'll be fine.
Well, it's not so much the videos, it's just me looking like a dork.
That's alright. You don't look like a dork once it goes online anyway.
I appreciate that.
Well, for anyone out there who's got any video experience, Mama Jane is hiring.
I need a camera person.
A camera person.
Gender
inclusive, I like that.
I'm very inclusive. Oh, Caleb the camera guy is busy, so I need camera person to replace him.
So he won't be wearing his Minecraft shirt this week?
He will not be wearing...
Okay, good to know. Okay. So back on track. One of the other things I want to talk about, and this comes in both lights too, definitely, is hygiene. Now,
I was actually thinking about this when you mentioned before that you want to talk about this, and I thought, well, just shower. But then I sort of thought, people are in cosplay. I've done one before that was a big fake fur thing, and it was so much hotter, and I sweated so much more than I realised. Fortunately, I'm super paranoid about worrying about I smell and just drown in deodorant. But you when you're cosplaying, you have to sort of really think about what you're wearing, and vinyl is you're gonna be hot as in vinyl and things like that. Yeah. So just make sure you shower the morning of. I know you've got to get up earlier. Shower that morning, and please wear deodorant. Maybe a little, honestly, especially if you're cosplaying, a little bit more than you think you're gonna need.
Yeah, and look, I think just in general.
And one thing, guys, deodorant, not cologne, deodorant.
Yes, antiperspirant in particular.
Yes,
exactly. Not just your standard old Lynx stuff.
No Lynx body spray.
I mean, and this goes for anyone who's sitting behind a table too. I mean, I'm a bigger guy. For anyone who's met me, I do tend to sweat more than the average bear. So I always make sure I've got aftershave or a little bit of antiperspirant or something, or even just some roll-on, something that I can just secretly sort of tuck around behind my table, smack it on, and then just get back to it.
Yes.
Because,
it's a hot, soupy mess there, whether you're behind a table or actually walking around, I think, so...
and sitting in that table, too, it gets to, 3 in the afternoon, especially on a warm event.
Where they're inside as well, where they're in the big shed things.
Yeah.
Showgrounds, I think it is.
And 3 o'clock rolls around and it's, it's BO o'clock and you're just like, whoa, and it just wafts through. But, I remember when I was going, first sort of experienced that overwhelming smell. My first thought, oh man, these people around here stink. But it probably was a lot of people who were just sitting down, stewing in their own sweat as well.
Exactly.
So, it's not just the punters, guys. You're just as smelly.
Everyone.
You are not the exception. Put on some nice smelly stuff. And to further this too, not just cologne and that, but gum.
Yes.
I don't understand why people don't take gum with them.
It's super, especially if you're eating the snacks there and things like that. It's very difficult to have a conversation with someone when your eyes are watering because their breath is terrible.
Gosh, I've been a culprit of having many a junky meal.
Yes. I'm a big fan of the garlic, so
Oh, yeah.
I always have little minty things with me wherever I go.
Tell you what, if I can manage a kebab while I'm in a con, there's no way I'm saying no.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, little things like that. And as well, like hand sanitizer.
Yes.
If you're a punter in general, I imagine you're shaking hands with so many people that you don't know, whose hands they've touched, or let alone if they've been sick or they've got the flu or something like that. So
yes,
hygiene, just in that regard as well, is super important because that's how con flu starts.
Yes, it is.
And
Oof.
As a
We've all
punter,
had
have
con
you
flu at one
experienced
point.
con
It's
flu?
pretty awful. Sorry?
As a punter, have you experienced con flu?
I have gotten the snuffles after cons before. Yeah, I got really sick after last Supernova actually,
Oh, that was probably my fault.
Yeah, I bet it was you. That's right, you were snuffly. It probably was you.
I was extremely sick the week of Supernova.
You were very pale. You looked like you were about to drop off, actually.
Thanks for that, yeah. Sorry, you weren't the only one to say that, so...
Yes, no, I did remember you said, everyone keeps telling me that. That's all right, I'm very pale, and people say to me all the time, are you well? I'm like, yep, just this colour, so don't worry, I'm used to it too.
See, I'm generally sort of moderately tanned, so I didn't really have an excuse.
But yes, I've had the con lurgy before, and it's rather unpleasant.
Yeah. No, so little things like just hand sanitizer, a bit of gum, some cologne. And that's not hard to carry around.
Think you're going to a job interview. Pretty much, you want to smell good, you want to make sure your breath is nice. Same deal.
Yeah, and especially too, like if you're and this goes way beyond Artist Alley, like if you're going to meet a celebrity or something, and say you want to spend 5 minutes with that celebrity, more likely they're going to want to if you got some nice breath.
Yes. No, I agree. I got a hug from Manny Bennett when I saw him a few years ago, and I imagine if I was reeking like a dead cat, he'd probably been less inclined to hug me, so he's important.
And being a vet, that's highly likely.
Yes, I just want to say I'm a vet nurse, not a vet.
A vet nurse, sorry.
No, it's okay. Just please don't PM me for medical advice too often.
Oh, okay. Cool, because that was my next question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, bland food for a few days and then slowly back onto the other food. That's fine.
Oh, good.
Good, yeah, problem solved.
Is that sort of the generic answer to any veterinary problem?
Yeah, it's an answer to an awful lot of the problems. People do some very strange things and then ask you how to fix it. It's like, okay, well, stop doing what you're doing.
I can only imagine. Maybe later, towards the end of the show, you can tell us some interesting veterinary stories. I'd be very interested to hear some.
They're quite gruesome, most of them, but sure, if we have time, I'll tell you a good gross one.
We'll smack a warning on the video.
Yes.
Just so people are well aware.
Graphic content. Which is just everyday work for me, really.
Wow, imagine getting used to that.
Yeah. You've been there long enough when if you get pooped on, you kind of just wipe your hands on your jeans and keep working.
Oh, gosh. Oh. Yeah. At least you're ready if you ever have kids.
Yeah, well, I was chatting to a friend the other day and she said that toddlers have poo explosions. I'm like, oh, don't talk to me about poo explosions. Oh my, we've gotten off track here.
Very much so, but that's fine. If an episode of mine hasn't gone to poop in some way, shape or form, even I would be concerned.
But I didn't want to be the one that brings up the poop, but it's fine. We're here now.
We're here now. It's done. It's dusted.
It's happened.
Yep. We've opened the lid. Nothing's off limits now. Thanks for that, Jane. Good job.
That's all right. I'm just trying to make the next person that wants to talk about poop feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have a poop segment on
a
regular poop segment on the podcast. Yeah. You've started a thing.
I've started a thing.
You've started a thing.
I just want to say, Mum, I'm sorry. I know you wanted to listen to this, but I think I might not let you.
Now, that reminds me, and I must say, and this is off topic again, but your mum is one of the most loveliest people in the world.
Oh.
When you told her, I don't know if I told you this, but when you told her the news that Jasmine and I were expecting a baby, she messaged me.
She did not tell me that.
With the most loveliest message of congratulations to us both. Oh, I thought it was the most loveliest thing. I didn't even know how to reply in the most polite way I could think of, and express how thankful I was for her just to go out of her way and do that. So, props to Andrea, isn't it? Andrea?
Andrea, yes.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
It's Mama Jane's mama.
Mama Jane?
Yes, we'll go with that.
Mama Jane. There we go. That's a mouthful.
No, I did not know that. I'll have to mention that to her later.
There you go.
But no, she actually calls you my Chris. I was mentioning something about something you were writing, and she goes, Chris wrote, and I said, Chris wrote it, and she goes, what, my Chris? I'm like, yeah, that one.
Well, okay. So
there you go. You've been adopted into the family.
Fantastic. I'm an unofficial Finson.
You are an unofficial Finson.
Fantastic. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Well, our Christmas dinners are pretty good, so...
Well, I do love a good Christmas dinner, and you've sold me.
I've sold you.
Beautiful.
Good.
All right, back on topic. It's all right. I knew this would happen. I knew it would happen, but it's fine. That's how it should be. I suppose this is sort of the last one I've got here on artists in general at the Artist Alley. I think we sort of covered it, but friendliness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smile. Like you were saying, even if you're having a bad day, just, smiles are contagious. Just be nice to people.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with sort of adopting that single-serving friend notion as well. I mean, when someone walks up to your table, especially if they've deliberately walked up to your table, that means they're interested in you in some shape, way, or form. There's something that's grabbed their attention from your table, and they're interested in it, and they might want to know more, but they're unsure. And if you're just friendly and give them a reason to talk to them, and too, some of the simplest things that I've grabbed people's attention by is the T-shirt they might be wearing. If someone's say a Ninja Turtles T-shirt, and you're like, oh, I love the Ninja Turtles. Instant conversation starter right there.
Well, that's exactly it. It's perfect for breaking the ice because, you say, oh, I love the Ninja Turtles. And they go, oh, have you seen the new movie? And you're like, yeah. And then you'll probably start talking about, your comics or your art or whatever's on the table. But it's just broken that awkward, can I help you sort of thing. So
exactly, yeah.
It's very good.
It takes away from that, they're a customer and you're a salesman to... I'm an artist, and you could be a new friend who enjoys what I do.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and I've made plenty of friends at conventions, just through the Artist Alley. People who, and yourself included, who regularly come up to the table when I'm there. Some even just to say hello. I mean, some of them don't even buy stuff.
Well, I don't buy stuff from you anymore because I have all of your stuff.
Not yet. You don't. Not yet.
No, I don't. Not yet.
No.
I'm waiting for more stuff.
Working on it.
Yes, it's, even just stopping by and saying hello is a very nice thing to do.
Yeah. And too, and this is sort of the smiles are contagious sort of thing. Crowds are also contagious too. So if someone's at your table, there's a good chance someone else is going to go, oh, they're interested. What am I missing out on? What is it?
Yeah. It's like, with a cafe, you're not going to go to a cafe that's got no one in it. You're going to go to the one that's quite crowded because clearly their food's better.
Yes, exactly. If that does happen too, and this is for anyone as a punter, if you're there as a friend to support someone at the table and someone else comes along to look at some stuff, please kindly move out of the way.
Oh, yes. so important. It's very difficult if you're sort of going to look at a table and they're standing there chatting with someone, which is great, but, let the artist sort of finish up and move on to the next person.
Yeah.
If no one's at the table, by all means, finish your conversation and then move on. But, just a simple, oh, well, look, you've got other people, I'll let you go, is fine.
Yeah. And this goes back on the artist too. Don't be afraid to put your business in front of your friendship. Don't be a jerk about it, but...
Don't walk away mid-sentence.
You're stuck at a table, say it's you and me, Jane, I'm behind the table and you're having a chat, and Joe below comes along to have a look, and we're like elbows deep in conversation about why Leonardo wears a blue mask, it's in my best interest to say, hold on a sec, dude, I just want to help this person out. We can continue this conversation later if you're not busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
I think
even just asking them to move aside. It's not rude.
And I think it's super important for people to not be offended when the artist goes, oh, okay, cool chatting with you. I'm just gonna go serve this guy now. It's like, they are there to work.
Yeah.
As well, so it's very important.
Yeah.
And don't stand there and talk their ear off for 45 minutes. They've got stuff to do.
I feel this is an important thing to talk about, actually, sort of in that regards when you say this is work. We did say earlier, we don't want this to feel like work, but we are there to make money and we are there to get our product out there. But anyone who's behind one of those tables, unless they're a guest, has put a lot of time and money into going to one of these events.
Just in case anyone's not aware, those tables certainly aren't free, so...
No, that's right, and every year they go up in price too, which is very frustrating, but it's just sort of the way it is, and that's how our economy is, and there's not much we can do about it.
Inflation is a thing, unfortunately.
That's it. And I want to talk about Sydney Supernova. I did Sydney Supernova a couple of years ago, and to save some money, I stayed with some friends there. We got a hotel, but we split the costs. And that would have cost me, say, at least $200 for the hotel. Another $200 for the table. Easy $200 to $400 for the flights. Food, taxi for that whole weekend. Easily close to $1,000. I would have spent just to be at that show for the weekend.
Just to get there and put your table up.
Now, the reason I went to that show was because it was a Stan Lee show, so I knew it was going to be busy, so it was to my advantage. But it doesn't mean that I need to hustle to make that money back. So, and there were a couple of people who just sort of hung around, and that was fine. It was nice to hang out with them. But yeah, my goal was at least to walk out, not just on top, but at least breaking even.
Yes.
Yeah. For some people, that's all it is. They want to break even, but you've got to consider those. Some people don't realise how much we pay to actually be there. And in those costs too, I didn't even talk about having to print your products, any excess luggage costs.
This is something I was talking about last night, that, just because you draw it on a piece of paper with stuff you already have doesn't mean it's free. It doesn't mean it's cost you nothing to do. Yeah,
that's right. It's, everything sort of takes time and money to create, and even just to sort of make those cost backs, at least for some people, is all they want. I know some people who walk away regularly without even breaking even, and it's really, really heartbreaking to see, because those are the people who are slowly just going, you know what, I'm not going to bother doing these shows anymore.
And that's really sad.
Yeah, and this brings me to one other thing, and this is more attendee focused, but respect for artists' belongings on the table.
I cannot stress this enough, actually. This is one of the things I hate more than anything else.
Alright, well, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Just, like we were talking about before, we're at a con, it's a hot, soupy mess, you've just, shoved pizza in your face. Wash your hands before you start touching the books. You're going to leave greasy, smudgy messes on them.
Yeah.
Don't pick stuff and bend it and read it in its entirety and then put it back, which I hate.
Yes, you know what? Sorry to interrupt you.
That's right.
That has happened to us once. I was tabling with Matt when we released The Legend of Rock. This is going back a couple of years now. And we were in Adelaide, I believe. Adelaide. And this kid came up to our table, read the entire book, laughed and, got all the jokes and had a great time. And they said, "Oh, that was really awesome." Put it down and walked away. And then a year later, we did another show in Melbourne, and he was there as well. He came up to the table and he's like, "Oh, have you finished the next issue yet? And I'm like, no, it's not ready yet. And he's like, oh, that's a shame. I really liked the first one, and walked away again. And I'm like, what? What the hell?
Awful.
And
That's horrible.
like, you don't want to be that jerk who's like, oh, come on, dude, this isn't a library.
Yeah, that's yeah, but it's not.
But like, and two, like, from my point of view, if someone's reading the book, I'm really hoping that they're reading it because they intend on buying it. So if I do say like, oh, sorry, mate, it's not a library. Like, if you want to read it, you're gonna have to buy it. Because then that might put them off buying it.
Well, exactly.
You just don't know what the mentality of that person's gonna be.
Oh, and I just also want to point out, when we're talking about reading stuff and putting it back, you can pick it up and look at it. It's, you can pick it up and flick through the art or something, but don't, like, read the whole thing and put it down.
Yeah.
That's very rude.
Cover to cover is not okay.
Not okay. Flick through, okay. Cover to cover, nope.
That's something to stress too. I mean, we'll come back to the sort of respect of tables in a second, but one thing I noticed, and I don't know if you've ever been through this when you started doing conventions, if there's something out on a table in the Artist Alley, unless it says otherwise, it's safe to say that you can pick it up or look at it.
Yes.
If you're unsure, ask the person behind the table. Don't be afraid, because there's so many people who come up to the table and just look with their eyes, and like, I get it, like, some people have been raised that way.
Yes.
But
you can only get so much from the cover, and I think
Yeah.
most artists understand that.
Yeah, and that goes to prints as well. Like, I'll have a folder of prints out, and some people will just look really closely at that top print and then walk away. And most of the time I'll stop them, like, no, there's more, you can look through. And they sort of go, oh, okay, I didn't realise. And then they're stuck there for 5 minutes looking at all the art.
Yes.
But some people just don't understand, and I have been tempted to put a big sign up saying, you can look at everything.
Please pick stuff up.
And like with some books, like I've got one book that actually says sample written right on the front cover.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So, if you are having an issue like that, anyone who's listening, from an artist point of view, have a sample book out so people know that, they can pick it up, and it doesn't matter if it gets, a bit torn or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what the big sample stamp is for.
Yeah, that's right. It's already damaged. It's got a graffiti all over it anyway.
And I think it's good for artists like yourself when you say, oh, do you want to have a look? Because people go, oh, cool, they're not going to yell at me if I touch it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it does come back on us too. We sort of have to be diligent in that way as well.
Although from personal experience, none of the local artists bite. They're all very friendly, lovely people.
It's very tempting, but it's not in our best interest.
No, most of them. Oh, actually, everyone I've met has been absolute darling. So.
You're too nice.
Oh, you said nice things about me when we started. I thought I should repay it.
Oh, thanks. I've got to say though, you mustn't have met everyone in Australian comics.
Oh, of course not. Nowhere near. But just the ones that I have met, the local Melbourners, have all been very lovely.
Yeah, no, they're all pretty good. Before we sort of go back off, so treating property with respect.
Mm-hmm.
I interrupted you. Do you remember where you were in your
wash your hands, don't read the full thing. Just general handling things gently.
Yes.
I think this is something that the people that are a lot less familiar with comics are going to do, but they're going to pick it up and they're going to just, open it like a magazine. It's like, just gentle.
Yeah.
Don't be quite so rough with stuff. And, when you put it back on the table, place it back on the table. Don't kind of just throw it.
Yeah.
Which I actually have seen someone do before, and I think my eyes were about to pop out of my head. It was so rude.
Oh my god. Wow, yeah, you can never underestimate people's manners.
Yes.
Which is such a sad thing. You would think most people are grown up knowing to respect other people's property, but fortunately that's not always the case.
Unfortunately, people will surprise you in the worst way sometimes.
Yep. Like, I know artists who laminate their prints that they have on tables just to avoid damage like that.
Mm.
And it's like, you'd think, like, you shouldn't have to do that, but they have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's a printer per show that they waste, and yeah, it's pretty nasty. Going on this too, like print folders, I've had people thrash through them like they're poster racks at Kmart.
Oh my god.
And like I know it's in like a little sort of safe folder, but
you can still bend them in a
exactly,
folder,
yeah.
You know. And
they're not 100% safe in there, and they're really just there so you can have a nice little browse. And I mean, most of the worst culprits are kids.
Yes.
So I kind of forgive that, but
parents should. I think when you're dealing with something like art, something that can be ruined by not handling it properly so easily, parents do need to be a little bit vigilant on how the kids are doing it.
This is going to sound really, really bad, and I feel like it's okay to say it because I am a part of it. When people go into an artist alley, I don't think there's many people there who consider it as art like it's art in a gallery. Like when you go into a gallery, there's a certain respect for the art that's on the wall there. When you walk into an artist alley, I don't think that same respect resonates.
I agree with you, and I hate that. I think that's horrible. My 3 giant folders I have of all of the commission pieces and things I've had done for me prove that I'm a little bit obsessive about it.
Yeah.
But it's that's horrible because I think anything that anyone is making is art, whether it's music or a painting or a comic book. Yeah,
that's it, and they should all be respected
exactly
just as equally, no matter who created it or how it was created or how it's presented.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I very much agree.
I've got a question for you, actually. This is something that's baffled my mind for the longest time.
Yes.
And I don't know why I really care that much about it, but I mean, I've been selling prints for years now. And I'm an artist, I like prints just as much as most people. But I'll only ever buy prints that'll fit on my wall. Now, if I don't have any wall space, I ain't buying any prints. But I know so many people who just buy prints for the sake of buying prints to, 1, support the artist, or 2, just because they like the picture. One, why? And 2, where do you put them all?
Okay. Well, if you see my Instagram, I have what we call the sketch wall, which is an entire wall of my place that is full of sketches and prints and framed prints and framed sketches and all sorts of things like that.
Oh, wow.
I am actually at the point now where I am pretty much out of wall space. So I've actually... this is going to make me sound so weird. I've actually upgraded to photo albums. So I have 3... very large photo albums that are entirely full of prints and commissions and sketches and things. You feature in them several times. But I will definitely buy a print to support an artist, and I have a bit of a rotation system sometimes.
Okay.
I get sick of looking at one print. Well, not that I ever get sick of looking at them, but after I've had one print up for a while, I'll tend to swap it out for something else.
Yeah.
And I just like supporting the artist, no matter sort of what it is. Where I'm going to put it comes second to wanting to show my support or enjoying the picture.
Okay, wow, that's really cool. So, where does that support come from? And again, this is just another thing that's just sort of always baffled me, and it's one thing I'm so super appreciative of. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but. I know a few artists who say this. I don't know if everyone's heard of it, but it's this concept of there's 1,000 true fans for every one artist that would allow that artist to survive. And the idea is that you could say have 100,000 people who like your Instagram, but there's 1,000 people out there who, no matter what you create and what you make, they will purchase it. And these are the people that you can rely on to continue your endeavour and survive making artwork. I definitely see you as one of those people. You've always been a great supporter of mine. But the mentality behind it, I've never quite understood. I don't know if it's just one of those things where it's like I love collecting records now that I have a record player. Is it just that same sort of thing for you, or is it?
Well, I'm very much a collector of things. I have ridiculous amounts of things that I've just collected, but I think it's really important to support indie comic creators and indie artists and things like that, because if you've only got, let's say you only had Marvel and DC, you're going to read what they give you. But then if you're supporting indie creators, you open up a whole new world of other things that are available. And I just think the creativity that goes into a lot of it is amazing and deserves to be supported.
Yeah, okay. So you're still seeing the value of the work that's going into it,
definitely.
Just as much as anything else.
Exactly. The work that goes into it, the finished product. That's also not saying that just because somebody works hard doesn't mean they're going to exactly put out something of quality.
Yeah.
So I think when that does happen, it needs to be supportive. It's supported. It's important.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point too. I think the term indie, as much as I embrace it, I think is a downfall for me as well, because the term independent, I feel, means some people correlate it with homemade and, not perfect or not, of quality.
Never thought about that before.
Yeah, I don't know sort of why, but what sort of caused that in my mind, but if someone goes, oh, it's an indie comic, I'm like, oh, it's probably not that good. Because a professional comic sounds so much more appealing to me. That's not to say the person who wrote or drew the comic isn't a professional. Really, like in freelance terms, to be a professional freelancer, if you've had a client pay you for work, you are then a professional. So if someone purchases your comic, what's to say you're not a professional comic maker? So it's interesting that you're so supportive of independent in that name as well, and acknowledging the fact that there's still quality there when it's not attached to Marvel or DC.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's really lovely to hear. No, thank you for that. That's sort of answers my question quite well.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I worry that I ramble sometimes.
No, rambling's good.
I get very passionate about things like this.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really important that it's represented.
Yeah. No, well, it definitely wouldn't be a good podcast if we didn't have ramblers. So I think I made a good choice having you on tonight.
Aww.
There we go, getting all soppy again. Ugh.
There we go.
All right. Well, there's one other topic. I think there was something else I wanted to talk about. But there's one other topic I've just got written here that I want to bring up. And this really frustrates me. This frustrates the absolute hell out of me, especially on a Saturday morning, the very beginning of a convention, and someone comes up and buys, let's say, a badge. And badges are only like $2, $3.
Something like that.
Right? And then that person goes, oh, I've just got a 50.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a bank. I don't have plethoras of notes and change. I've probably got maybe $100 worth of a cash float on me. And when you walk up with that $50, there goes pretty much all of my change for the entire weekend. Now, I just want to say, please, anyone attending a convention and planning on buying prints and things like that, take some change. We don't take FPOS. I know some people are starting to with the way PayPal works now, but
just assume they're not going to.
Just assume. Take some $5 notes with you. Take some $10 notes and some poo change. You get a bag at the beginning of the show. Like you can afford to put some of that poo change in the bag, so you don't have to carry it around. It's very frustrating.
Yes. Look, I'm not going to lie. I have been super guilty of this. Of not taking change anyway. I don't ever go to a table and only spend $2. I have a problem.
And we support your problem.
And you guys enable my problem. I think it's also really important if you go up and you're buying, like you said, a badge, a $2 badge, and you've only got a 20, maybe you might have to buy their $5 comics sitting on the table as well. You know,
Yeah.
If you don't have change, you might have to be prepared to spend a little bit more.
Yeah. Look, and this isn't to say that, like, as an artist, you shouldn't be prepared to have some change on you. Like, I generally try to. Like, I tend to avoid coins, and I price my things in fives to avoid it.
Most artists are very good, and everything is fives or tens.
Yeah. But, yeah, I used to do bookmarks and badges. Pardon me, that's my dog going crazy. I think he was on the last podcast too. He gets a bit jealous. Okay. And we're back. Sorry about that interruption. My dog decided to have a shit fit or something. So yes, we're talking about money and banks and things like that. Look, don't not be prepared. Have some change with you, but in an artist's perspective, but
don't hand them a 50 for a $2 badge.
Yeah, right.
I always take a change purse everywhere because I'm an old lady, but you'll be surprised how often those $2 and $1 coins come in handy for things like postcards and badges and bookmarks.
Yeah, exactly. And I reckon, as a punter, if you've got that extra change, like, you probably don't even want to go home with that change, so you don't know what cool little things you might actually find by going, cool, I'm going to pick up a badge for $2, and now I don't have any change, and I've got a cool badge to go home with. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And think, don't go the full other direction and pay in 20-cent pieces.
I've had it.
I believe my mother did that to you the first convention. She wanted to buy a copy of How to Make a Friend or something else. I can't remember.
It was a drawing of a frog,
I believe. The frog with antlers, that's right. And so she paid you in change, and I don't think I've ever been any more embarrassed of her.
See, your mum was lovely about it.
So we're okay with that, are we?
No, it's still frustrating, but, if you're nice and joke about it, it takes the edge off, having to take it.
I believe you were very diplomatic and you said, "Oh yes, I need this for parking," so that's great.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it. You don't have to be a dick about it. But try and see the good in it.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, I probably did need that for parking. Actually, no, that was true because I work in Frankston and the parking in Frankston is not free, which is why I needed it. No, I remember now.
Good work, Mum, then.
That's it. $4 a day, and that change covered me for the week. So thanks, Mum. Much appreciated. But in general, please don't take change.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
No. But yeah, like I said, and I was leading to something when I was talking about this. Take some spare change if you do think that you might grab some little knickknacks later on, or if you do have spare change at the end of the show. Have a look around the Artist Alley because unlike most of all the other big stalls with all the pop culture stuff, you might find a really cool pin of Harley Quinn or a bookmark for that comic book that you just bought for $50 at King's Comics, and now you've got this rad, independently drawn, a Groot and Rocket bookmark or something.
And no one will have anything like it, so that's nice too.
No, that's it, exactly. And it doesn't matter if it's something you don't keep for like a year because it was only $2 anyway, and you supported an artist in the long run too.
And that's nice.
But, in saying that, as an artist, if you're going to have things like postcards and pins and bookmarks, and you're going to sell them for like $1, $2, do a deal. Do something like 3 postcards for $5. Because that way when you say, I don't have change, then you can say to the punter, look, I don't have change for a 50, but if you buy 2 more bookmarks, you get $1 off. And then you have the change in notes to give them. And makes it easier on both sides. They walk away with a little bit more, feeling like they've actually got a better deal, and you're not sort of going, oh crap, now I've got all this change to deal with, or I don't have any change and I lost the sale.
Yes.
So it's to your advantage as well to create good price points. I think that's probably something that's I didn't even write down, but gosh, please label all the stuff on your table appropriately and clearly.
That is actually really important because especially when you're winding down to the end of the convention, you've only got, let's say you've got to get $15 left in your budget. you don't want to walk up to a table and go, oh, this is so cool. How much is this? And then they go, oh, it's, $35, and you awkwardly have to put it down and walk away.
Yeah.
A bit, just, don't have to price, have it written on the actual book, but just a bit clear prices so people don't make idiots of themselves.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's really not that hard.
I've seen people do like little placards, put little signs up that say, such and such comic $5 and such trade $15 or whatever. So you don't even have to actually put anything on the book.
Like, I'll usually have a list that I'll just put in like a little A5 case or something, and that'll have the prices of everything. And then on top of that, I'll try and put little price cards in front of all my products too. So if you miss one sign, you're probably going to see the other one. And generally anything that has writing on it that you see on a table, I found most people will read. That was actually a trick I did, and which worked really, really well. When I first released How to Make a Friend, it didn't sell very well. And the next show that I took it to, I ended up writing a synopsis for it. And I stuck the synopsis, like it was very short, as they should be. I stuck that above the display, which I had the books in, which people could then read. And then underneath the synopsis, it says, How to Make a Friend, $5, or whatever the price was at the time. And people bought it because they knew what it was about. Because I don't know many comics, I don't know if you've ever seen any, Jane, especially independents, that actually have a blurb on the back.
No, I don't think I actually have it all.
And that's probably something we should probably consider more too. If you're trying to sell a comic, don't hope that the artwork and the story inside will do the trick. Maybe we all need to start doing blurbs. Well,
yeah, I agree. I think sometimes you look at something and you won't think it's up your alley, or you won't think it's something you're interested to, but the story could be very different from what you think. Sort of like From Above. When I first saw that, I thought, oh, this is going to be robots and Terminator and blood and guts, and it was actually a really good story, and there were the characters in it were had actual characters.
Yeah, From Above was a really nice surprise when I picked that up. I think I only picked that up based on popularity, but
well, that's why I picked it as well. I think I read the first one in the Melbourne Comics Quarterly or something like that.
Oh wow, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Did you tell Craig that when you bought it?
I don't know. I can't remember. I remember I bought one way before I actually read it for my cousin for his birthday because he was all teenage and angsty and hated everything. So I thought he would really like it because, robots and stuff. But then, I read it in the Quarterly, I think it was, and I thought, oh, this is actually really good.
And you kept it for yourself?
No, I gave him his copies. I bought my own, thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Very noble of you.
But no, now I'm quite a big fan of Craig's work. He does some really good stuff. He did my Dinosaurs Cooking Pancakes commission, which is my favourite. Which I will put up on my Instagram if anyone wants to see that again.
That reminds me, I've actually got a commission of yours to finish.
Yay!
Which maybe involve things wearing clothing.
Yay! Is it possibly dinosaurs?
It's possibly Charizard.
Even better.
Yeah, I thought you'd dig it.
I have a bit of a dinosaur wearing clothes obsession for anyone that hasn't seen my Instagram before.
Yeah, it was really weird when you asked me the first time to draw, whatever.
Okay, you weirdo.
That's what you want.
Well, I think when I'm asking for commissions, I kind of really want whatever the artist is going to draw, but I also like dinosaurs, so I like getting the artist spin on a dinosaur wearing clothes or a dinosaur doing something.
No, I like it. I like it when people do that. Actually, this is a really good tangent too, because this is one thing I forgot to write down, which I really wanted to talk about. Commissions at conventions.
I love commissions.
Now, look, I don't know how much longer we're going to go for, because this is nearly coming up to an hour. And we usually go just under an hour. But, depending if you've got time, we can still chat.
Yeah.
Commissions at conventions. 1, have you ever bought them? 2, how did you go about them, and how did you feel about the interaction about it?
Okay. Yes, I have got them before, and I've also ordered many online and things like that. But at the conventions, this was from Craig From Above, and he had his price list up, which is why that's a great idea. And I sort of said, could I get a commission? And I believe it was Saturday afternoon, and he sort of said, I don't think I'm going to finish it by today. You coming tomorrow, or I could post it to you, which is good work. And I said, okay, great. Can I have a dinosaur cooking pancakes? And he kind of, he did a double take at me. He's like, sorry. And I said, just a dinosaur cooking pancakes. He goes, okay, how do you want me to do that? I'm like, however you want, you know. When I get commissions, I like mostly the artist to come up with it, or the artist, not the idea, but whatever style they want to do. So yeah, that was super easy. I told him dinosaur cooking pancakes, and off he went, and I got it the next day. It was the coolest thing ever.
Very, very unique.
But I think if you're going to ask for a commission, you have to go one of two ways. You either have to be really clear what you want,
yep,
or you have to pretty much let the artist decide from your idea.
Yep.
You know, and don't go up to a certain artist and expect them to draw it in someone else's style. That's not really how a commission works.
Yeah, there's definitely a few no-nos that I want to cover in a second. How did you feel about sort of how it was approached? Like, when you asked him, did he take payment up front, or did he do it and then took payment when you picked it up?
You know, I honestly can't quite remember, but we did pay up front. I think I actually offered to pay up front, but I think it would be a very good idea for artists to pay up front, especially if you're collecting it the next day, because he may put all that work into doing that, and I may never turn up again.
Yeah, I really want to strongly suggest that if you're doing commissions at a convention, one, take payment up front, because not only will they potentially not show up to pick it up, but if you've just spent 2 hours on a commission that you probably knocked back other ones because you're too busy doing this one. If you don't have the money and they don't show up, there's a piece that you can probably do nothing with. Especially, like, let's say it is a dinosaur cooking pancakes, and you didn't show up on the Sunday, and he just had this picture of dinosaur cooking pancakes. That time could be better spent doing another commission.
Exactly.
And even if it's a deposit, anything that's going to entice that buyer to come back to pick it up. Because I've known some artists who actually try and chase up people once they've paid for it, because they've got their money. It's in that artist's best interest to keep a good relationship with their fans. But if it was me and someone just didn't show up, that's just going to go in the bin, and that was a waste of my time. And I think you should really try and avoid that. And I think that's a good practice generally if you're trying to do
I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
It would be a little bit silly not to take payment up front or even a deposit.
Yeah, exactly. I've had people who are generally like, oh, do you want me to pay up front? And usually I go, no, let's pay later. I learnt the hard way. Yeah, and like sometimes like people who are a bit unsure if they are go, oh, you've taken my money. How do I guarantee that you'll finish it or whatnot? I've actually had people give me their phone numbers so I can message them when it's done, or vice versa. And I'm like, don't call me, just text me, and I'll let you know when it's done. That way too, because there's an element of trust that's involved there, and if you don't know that person and you're just dumping a couple of $100 on them, you want to know that you're gonna get what you paid for too. So it's not like walking into a shop and and the other thing, like you just said, be precise. I've had people come back and forth constantly, which was really good because I think it was Wonder Woman, but all he said was, I want Wonder Woman but battle damaged, and I didn't really know how to do that. So he kept coming back and sort of giving me advice, like, oh no, this is what I want, which made it easy for me to do what he wanted. But it would have been nicer if he just said right from the get-go, this is exactly what I want. Or, sort of go crazy.
Yeah, do what you want.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm much more a fan of.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Generally, if you're going to get commissioned, there's obviously something there that's attracted you about them that you want to get a piece of their own work. So I love that you did something different that wasn't superheroes and such. That I definitely imagine that would have been a nice change of pace for Craig.
Yeah.
Challenging, but nice change of pace.
I think when I got I think it was the very first dinosaur wearing clothes I ever got. It was a dinosaur, a T-Rex wearing a sun hat, And he goes, oh, it's nice not to draw Harley Quinn for a change.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like getting things that are a little bit more different, a little bit more interesting.
Yep. I want to cover some of the no-nos that I was talking about now. The first one, never, ever haggle with an artist on their prices.
Do people do that?
Oh, yeah, you would not believe
goodness.
it. If you can't afford it and you have a budget, let the artist know. Maybe they can arrange something that will work within your budget. But never ask them for, say, a full body picture for half price just because you don't have the money. Compromise with the artist or go for a lower tiered option. Sometimes the artist won't have an option available for your price range. Never be afraid to ask. But never, ever try and haggle them in a price. This isn't a grocery store. This isn't like...
Do you haggle for your groceries?
I didn't mean... But I meant like a grocer's. That's what I meant.
Right,
a grocer.
Okay,
this isn't a grocer. You know, this isn't Con the Fruiterer, selling you a few apples. You can't just drop down that price because you've only got a few bucks. If that's the price they've set, then that's it. Second, and this has happened to me, and I hate it. I know it's happened to a few of my friends of mine as well. Some artists don't do full colour, okay? I've known there's conventions, I've known artists who don't do full colour at a convention when they do a commission. Fair enough, full colour is very hard and very time consuming and sometimes very daunting for an artist. If you get a commission from that artist, do not ever take that commission to another artist and ask them to colour it.
Oh.
You didn't see that coming, did you?
No, I didn't. I thought you were going to say don't nag them to colour it.
No.
Oh my goodness.
No. I've had that before. I've had friends who have had that before.
Has someone brought it to you to colour? Or?
Yes. So they got a commission, which was even worse, was actually a commission from a friend of mine. So I went back and I told them later, I'm like, you know that commission you did, blah, blah, blah? They're like, yeah. I'm like, that person came to me and asked me to colour it for them. And they're like, what? Yeah.
Wow.
So please don't ever do anything like
that.
Don't
do that. Don't do that.
One, it undermines the original artist. Two, it's just insulting to the other artists. If you want them to do a commission for them, don't ask them to just colour it. Ask them to do the whole piece. You could have just gone to that artist in the first place. And that's another point too. And this goes for buying comics, buying prints, buying stuff. Have a look around. And don't be afraid to say to an artist, that most of the time we'll think like, oh yeah, we won't see them again. Don't be afraid to say, oh look, I might come back. Because it's a big convention, there's a lot of people creating lots of amazing art, and we understand that everyone has a budget, and you want to sort of spend wisely. If you want a commission from someone, say, oh look, I'm really interested, but I'm just going to see how much money I've got left. By all means, just let them know that you'll be back later. Or, if you desperately want a commission from an artist and you know that they're going to be doing commissions, hit them up early. Hit them up online.
Go to the Facebook group. Or the tweets. Tweet them.
Yeah. I don't know how many artists I know these days still use Twitter.
I don't think anyone still uses the Twitter.
No, it's sort of a dying platform, I think.
Unless
you just like to complain about people.
That seems to be all Twitter is nowadays.
Yeah, sadly. But I know folks like Jeffrey Chumba Cruz will occasionally notify people via Facebook whether he's doing commissions. John Somariva does. Martin Abel does. Not that he does many. But yeah, if you're considering getting a commission by any of these, artists that you like, and they don't announce it, just ask them. If you know they're going to be at the show, don't be afraid to ask them. If they say no, I mean, you've got nothing to lose, really, do you?
Yeah.
And that way, too, you can also deal with your money beforehand. So if you only want to take a certain amount of money to the show, at least you know how much you're paying the artist, and you can sort of add that into your budget as well, which I think is easy. Or you can even pay them online too, so you can.
I think that's important as well. If you miss out, whether they're just chock-a-block with other work, or if you sort of forget and then you're running there 4:30 on Sunday, you can most of them will do it online, do it via their website.
Yeah.
You can order commissions, so just because you miss them at the convention doesn't mean all is lost. So.
And most artists will have business cards as well, so You can generally nab those so you can annoy us online too. Actually, I did want to point that out, and I don't know if this is anything anyone's ever thought of, but I saw this on a blog that I read the other day with business cards. Now, this is something I don't generally worry about because I always just order a buttload of business cards and I want people to take them. But I have heard that some artists get very frustrated when people take business cards with no intent to contact that artist in any way. So, for me, like a business card isn't just my email address. It's got all my social media. So, some people might jump up onto my Instagram and my Facebook and like those. But I reckon it's probably only about 20% of people who do take my business cards do actually go through those processes. Because I remember faces. I remember if someone picks up my business card and then they pop up on my Instagram, I'm like, oh, cool, it's that guy. But if they just take it because they like the art on the card...
don't do that.
Yeah, I sort of don't mind.
I think that, like you were saying, yours is a bit different. Yours has got all your Facebook and your Instagrams and whatnot. I think if it's just the website... Because a surprising number of people actually collect business cards.
Yeah. I collect some business cards. I've actually got a friend who she always does at least 4 variants of her business card, and I always grab one of each, just because I love her art and I can't afford her art. But I have supported her in other ways before, like bought her zines and stuff. But yes, I am a culprit of that. But apparently that's a thing. Apparently it's,
if I buy someone's work, I take a business card because, like I mentioned, those 3 giant photo albums full of commissions, I always put the business card in with the picture just in case I want another one, I need to contact them, or when I put it on my Facebook page, I like to make sure I credit the artist.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Or if I don't know who the artist was for whatever reason, I go, hey, I don't know who this was, I got it here. If anyone knows, let me know. So
yeah. And do you experience that you get some artists who actually hand one over?
Yeah, a lot of artists will put them in the bag. If they, if you buy a comic or whatever, they'll put the comic in the bag or the print in a bag, and they'll slip a business card or a little slip of paper that has their Facebook or whatever on there.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yes,
cool. Yeah, that's the thing. If you can get bags to put your products in, man, that's handy.
That's so handy.
Yeah. It's definitely a service you don't need to offer as an artist because, they're not really cheap when you have to buy them in bulk, but it definitely is enticing. Like you said earlier, that girl who had a bag and you ended up buying...
we were standing next to a table, we weren't even standing at a table. Oh, we need a bag. Oh, I've got one! And, made a sale out of it.
Bang, sale. So there you go.
Mm.
Alright, I'd say we've covered a fair bit. Yeah, I'd say we can wrap it up there. Now, the main reason I wanted to do this topic today is because obviously Oz Comic Con is just around the corner.
This weekend.
This weekend on, I'm not even sure of the date, is it?
It's the 11th
and 12th. 11th and 12th of June. This video is going to be up later tonight, hopefully. So anyone who does listen to it, there's some nice tips for you. I believe also Sydney Supernova is next Saturday as well. I unfortunately won't be able to make either of those shows just due to life commitments, but I hope anyone who does go enjoys themselves. I'm looking forward to your recap, Mama Jane,
thank you.
Sydney Supernova. Is there anything you sort of wanted to say, or do you want to plug yourself a little bit before we go?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter that we already just talked about no one uses anymore. Just Mama Jane Reads a Comic or just Mama Jane, I usually come up. And I just really want to mention my logo is actually drawn by you. It's a commission you did for me.
Yes.
It was quite a while ago now.
Actually, I want to really add a really quick thing, and this goes back to my art theft episode couple weeks ago.
Yes, the art theft.
Now that commission there, for anyone who's got a keen eye, is actually based off another art piece.
Yes, it is. It's the original cover for Giant Days.
Yes. Now, in saying that, this isn't actually the first time I've encountered this in doing commissions, but anyone who sees that will probably go, oh, that's stolen from the original artist. That design was actually requested by you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Now, for anyone doing commissions and sort of comes up to things like these, this is in my personal opinion at least, doing things like that is okay. Generally, if it's requested by the commissioner, and if you credit the artist when you do post it. I'm not sure if you did that.
I believe that was back when I was very first starting out, so I don't believe I did.
Yeah, might be worth putting there. Yeah, like
we should put that up.
Yeah, like I did a piece, and this was a couple of years ago now. It was a Adam Hughes piece. Someone came up to me and said, "Here's the piece." I think it was like there was about 12 of the DC females in like goddess outfits.
Oh yes,
You probably know it. It's very famous.
I do know that one. Yes,
but they wanted me to redraw the whole thing, but in their superhero outfits. So pretty much all the same poses, but with my style of, drawing in their superhero outfits. At first I was a bit unsure about it because I was like, okay, what do I do? I spoke to a few other artists. They said, look, if you're going to do it, when you sign it, make sure that you write after Adam Hughes or, whoever the artist is before you sign it. As long as you're acknowledging and crediting the original artist and it's not a blatant rip-off of the art, something like that I think is okay. I'm sure there's people out there who think differently. In these regards, it was me using the poses rather than me just copying the art. So as I'm sure if you see Mama Jane's logo, it's a complete reproduction using the same pose.
Yes.
I don't know if I changed it slightly. Sometimes
it is. There are a few differences to it. It's obviously not, a photocopied piece or recolored or anything like that. It is its own original piece, inspired by the Giant State cover.
Yeah. So sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to cover that. Yeah. Also, if you haven't checked it out on Instagram, go to the Say No to Art Theft page and give it a like and share anything you see on it.
Yes, very, very important. Don't steal other people's art. It's bad.
Yes. So, thank you again, Mama Jane, for jumping on.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure we'll probably have you on again in the future.
Can't wait.
Guys, be sure to check out Mama Jane's page. Give her some love. Share her page around as well. She does amazing comic reviews. And she's not 100% biased. I've heard her talk some crap about some crap. So she's not one of those ones who loves everything she sees, which is good.
I love a lot of stuff, but when stuff is produced with really poor quality, I will definitely say, this is crap.
Good.
I'm very easily pleased, but I will not put up with palming off poor quality.
Oh, good. Well, I hope you like my comic when it comes out.
I'm sure I will.
All right, dude. Thanks for coming on. This has been the Inksplatter Podcast. Thank you guys for listening this week for episode 3. And we will catch you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.